Dark Satellite Media.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Red River Podcast, deep in the quarantine. Usually me and Langan are together. Now the three of us are all on a phone together. Parker, Langan, holla.
What up?
Suzuki Samurai, you Bensonhurst piece of shit.
Yeah, man. So we decided let's do a deep dive on a movie that no one really likes. No one ever talks about except for there's like a handful of us. Like, you know, when I posted that we were going to talk about it, some people were like, "Holy shit, that movie's so good." So that is The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Do you think we're the first podcast to ever talk about this movie in length?
You know, it's possible. It's really not out of the question, you know. I'll probably do a Google search after. We might be leading on this one.
We could be pioneers.
Yeah. So 1990, this movie came out. I don't remember what else dropped on 1990, but Parker, do you remember the first time you saw it?
I don't actually. I mean, if it was 1990, figure I was in 6th grade. So this is, just another one of those movies that I probably watched that I shouldn't have seen, right up there with Hamburger and shit like that. But I mean, I definitely didn't see it in the theaters, obviously, if I was in 6th grade. So I probably just caught it on HBO, in the middle of the night, like I used to.
Okay, so you didn't drag one of your parents to take you to go see this?
No, they definitely wouldn't have fucking gone for this.
Not enough murder for your mom?
Probably not. Yeah, definitely not enough horror. And my father would have loved the language. That's about it, because they say fuck I think 70 times in the movie or something. So
Langan, do you remember the first time you saw it? First time you saw the movie?
I saw it in the theater a couple of times. Me and my friends were big Dice fans. I remember seeing Dice at what was it, that Dangerfield's Young Comedian special?
Yep.
When he first came out, and I remember watching it with my parents were in the room. We all watched it.
Is that where he did the "I can't eat marshmallows, they make me sick"? When he was doing that. What was it? It was Eric Roberts, Al Pacino, and John Travolta eating marshmallow. No, they went camping.
I don't remember that bit, but the nursery rhymes, obviously.
Okay.
And I couldn't. I remember laughing my ass off, but feeling bad that my parents were in the room also, that kind of awkwardness.
Yeah.
It was so filthy. But me and my friends were all gassed up when this movie came out. So we saw it in the theater maybe a couple of times.
You know, the funny thing about watching stuff like this with my parents is that they were such degenerates that they were probably fucked up or fingering each other. So it just wouldn't even have mattered. They probably wouldn't even noticed.
We were all equally laughing, but just no one was making eye contact with each other.
Yeah. I'm with Parker. I don't remember the first time I saw it, which is weird because I've seen the movie literally 30 times in my whole life. I do.
Brian, are you there?
Oh yeah, no, I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Technical difficulties today with the three of us. But yeah, what I remember for sure was when it came out, it was supposed to be this big thing, and the action movie, it was Die Hard had come out, all these things were I just knew that this movie was supposed to be the shit. And I remember being old enough to know that it bombed. I looked at the box office, and the budget was $20 million, and it made back 21.4.
Just a little above breaking even.
Yeah. So I don't know who split that. And then I also remember that the Razzies. You remember the Razzies?
Yes. It did very well at the Razzies.
Yeah, so the Razzies is basically the anti It's like all the shitty movies. So it won. What did it win here? Let me look.
It won the worst movie.
Worst movie, worst actor.
Tied. Yeah.
Worst actor for Andrew Dice Clay. Worst picture, Joel Silver.
Worst screenplay.
Worst screenplay.
And Gilbert Gottfried, worst supporting actor. And Wayne Newton as well.
Yo, it swept. It cleaned up the Razzies. But yeah, let's just anything else? Let me see. Let me look real quick here. Yeah, that's about it. It basically bombed, and I think a lot of people. This was at like the height of his popularity. So anyway, I figured, I had a couple of questions, passed it around, because I think later in life, this movie really, I don't know when it hit, but in the very beginning, I remember my feelings towards the movie being that it was kind of like a letdown. I don't really know why. I don't know why. I just did.
It's not that good, really.
Yeah, but
at moments.
Yeah, but later
it's a loosely strung collection of bits, like strung together bits.
Well, no, for sure, and that's what you get when you cast a comedian.
Right.
Someone who's basically trying to like interject his bits into this movie, but it was also based on a short story, like a short story series from like the 70s that somebody wrote. I was reading.
Yes, I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. But it makes sense. Like you live in L.A. and it's such a, it has that Hollywood lore and. It's cool. Like what better job to basically, if you're going to have, instead of being like a normal cop or a normal detective, he's this, celebrity rock and roll detective, basically investigating the death of Vince Neil.
Who knew that LA was so rife with music related crimes that you could carve out a niche just solving those?
Yeah. So the first question I asked everyone right off the bat, of course, let's talk about our two favorite characters from the movie. Parker, give me your two favorite characters.
Probably Julie Grendel, who was Wayne Newton, who I think is fucking amazing in this, and Gilbert Gottfried is Johnny Crunch. I mean, he's in it for about probably 2 minutes the whole movie, but like. Just the dialogue between him and Dice when he finally goes to the K-Dirt studio, the first time from when he hires him, and then he leaves, and then he, continues on with the radio broadcast, and then he has to go back to try and help the guy as he's getting pretty much electrocuted to death. And Wayne Newton, this is, pre-facelift, pre-looking all fucking weird like he did. He's got his little drawn-on mustache in this movie, but I think he's fucking hysterical, and I thought he played a great villain in this movie.
Wasn't he also kind of like a villain in Vegas Vacation?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I mean, technically he was trying to steal, Clark's wife, so I guess he was, had that scumbag, role going for him.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. So, Langan, give me your two favorite characters of the movie.
Hands down, Johnny Crunch, because I'm a huge Gilbert guy. Big fan of his. It wasn't enough Johnny Crunch, actually. Needed more. And I guess I'd say maybe Don Cleveland, Morris Day's little cameo. He was cool.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, he was.
Gave him a couple of good jokes, good lines in there.
All right, so I'm gonna be, that guy, and I'm going to say I think Ford Fairlane is my favorite character just because he gets to interject his stupidity. And listen, I forget what Andrew Dice Clay's real name is. I think it's like Fred Silverstein or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, he like created this character. It's kind of like Larry the Cable Guy, basically. Where he, and I guess when you create a character, you're able to just kind of do it on steroids, and his thing is just it's so funny, man. It's just like so perfect and like it's like when you do like Kenny Powers, like you're the world is your oyster because you could be as terrible as you want as long as like people somewhat like you. And I think Andrew Dice Clay did a really good job of that in this film for sure. And number 2, Lieutenant Anus, man, come on.
Yeah.
Ed O'Neill, man, like, and this was like the definitely right. Married with Children's been out for a couple of years by this point. And when I was a kid, whenever I would see people from TV in a movie, it just, I don't know, it always like resonated with me. So, seeing like Ed O'Neill in this, I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you're fucking Al Bundy, and you're in this fucking movie, and it's awesome. And he's just every scene he's in this movie, it's just so ridiculous, man. I fucking love it so much, man. So those are my 2 favorites, and so let's do throwaways, which is funny because I had one that Parker loves. So give me 2 characters that just really served no purpose in the movie, or that you could have done without. Parker.
With me, it's definitely the kid. That fucking kid just like fucking annoys me, even though he's like trying to go after like, supposedly Robert Englund, who's Smiley, who's his father. And then I guess fucking Neil and Bob, because they're only in like the fucking one scene. You didn't even fucking need them,
Yeah. That's good. And I used to do that. Like when I first heard that routine, I don't know why. Like, when you're like 10 or 11 or 12 and you hear it's like Neil and Bob, I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny. Neil and Bob.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it doesn't age well because it's so stupid, but like,
and that was right out of his stand-up act.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was waiting for like hecklers, and when he did Dice Man Cometh, he did that. He was like, people are like talking back. He's like, "What's your name, Neil?" And like, you could tell when he crowbars that shit.
Yeah.
So you said your 2, right, Parker?
Yeah, those are the 2 that I would get fucking rid of.
All right, the kid, Neil and Bob. Langan, who do you have?
Definitely the kid. That's a no-brainer. It was obviously just thrown in to have some kind of like, human connection where like, let's show Dice is not a complete piece of shit person, kind of a bad person. Like, got some interest in some kid, and it was just crowbarred in there and stupid. And I was on the fence on these ones. I was either going to say the koala bear.
How dare you?
But I come to like the koala bear, so I'm going to say the guy. I'm trying to remember his name. Kyle Troy.
How fucking?
I mean, while funny, I just never understood. Like, this guy is clearly so tone deaf.
Yeah.
And singing a horrible song. And this was I know it was like a sinister reason that he was like pushing this guy, Wayne Newton, but like no one would buy that or listen to that at all.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that actor, like, because he has nothing really listed on Wikipedia. His name is Cody Jarrett. I don't know what he went on to do. Maybe like, I don't know. He looked like a woman. Like, he was just like, he looked like Mark Slaughter's older sister.
Well, I'm playing the role of young Jamie here, and I'm on his IMDb page.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let me know what he's got.
He's produced a lot of things in the 5 or 6 things in the 2000s.
Oh, okay.
A movie called Frog Surfboards, a sequel, Get Frogged, behind the scenes of Frog. So
I heard he sang backups on the last Floor Punch.
Nice, love it.
And a movie called Sugar Box, a box with 2 X's. So
whoa,
I don't know what that's all about. But
might be an adult film actor now. You never know.
Just partially, not triple X, just double.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just double. That means softcore for sure. So my 2, like everyone else, the kid. The kid is, especially when you get to the end of the movie and you realize that you're never going to see his dad because his dad is dead, right? So I'm like, what is this like, like whole character that you guys have in here that for the most part had nothing to do with anything? You thought you were going to find the ring and maybe he was Robert Englund, but Englund's like, oh, I killed him. So you're just like, oh, all right. So then this kid is just doing whatever. And then
apparently he didn't have a name either because he's listed as the kid.
He was actually, what was the kid in? So the kid was in Blind Fury the year before with Rutger Hauer.
Oh, nice.
And For the Boys with Bette Midler. And
great movie.
A couple other things. But yeah, Blind Fury. Amazon.
No, For the Boys.
Oh yeah. You got a problem with Blind Fury? Rutger Hauer is a blind samurai. Amazon Prime is good for like shit like that. You'll end up like,
No
you know,
doubt.
I watched like Runaway. I just watched Invasion USA today. Like,
Oh, nice.
It's
Fucking
just-
Christmas movie right
I
there.
know, I had to pull it out early, man. I was like, I need to.
Yeah,
I need to watch.
You want to get in
this.
the Christmas spirit.
that's it, man.
I'm fucking
When that little fucker fucking throws the goddamn bubble gum on the truck and the fucking security guard goes after him.
You little shit.
Oh,
Joe Zito, man. I would love, we got to get Joe Zito on somehow.
that'd be sick.
And then my number 2 throwaway characters were the two henchmen. Like,
Yeah, good one.
they were just kind of like Robert Englund could have been those guys. You know,
Dude,
what I'm saying?
I was thinking the exact same thing. He
Yeah,
could have done all the dirty work.
He could have done all the dirty. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, these two guys that are just, I don't know. It was just funny when after like the Kyle Troy thing, like Ford sees them outside. He's like, "You guys in a group?" It's like, "Yeah." What'd you call Payne? He's like, "What do you say? Like kooky or something?" Like
Kooky.
Yeah. But they didn't.
Yeah, they just existed to throw Lauren Holly through a window or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they could have been just all England because he was a star by then.
Sure.
Those are my 2 throwaways. So let's do favorite cameos. Parker.
Okay, cameo. I mean, let's be honest. I got to go fucking Randy Castillo, fucking and Bobby Blackspan, fucking banging those drums,
Oh yeah,
banging those fucking drums. You know.
Yeah, the Black Plague.
Can you think
I
of
mean-
a generic like metal band name? They could,
Was that an
Right.
actual? I don't remember. That is a Motley Crue song, though, right? It was like
Yes,
it wasn't,
yeah,
It wasn't a
yep.
cover.
yeah.
No, that yeah.
Worked out with financially, like the crew would all be. I don't know. I guess they didn't care, but Vince being it by himself. But
Yeah.
guess it got paid. So
And I know reading that what's his name, Stephen Piercy. I guess they originally wanted for that role too.
Okay. Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because by that,
what happened there?
I don't know.
they were both equally big. You figure. So if the movie came out in '90, they were probably shooting in '89, and at that point, like Motley Crue and Rat were definitely like the two giants of that L.A. scene for sure.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about it now in 2020. Obviously, it sounds like Stephen Piercy. It's like, why would they get him? But back then, he was up there. So okay, Randy Castillo. What else you got?
I mean, Tone Loc. Let's be honest. Of fucking Blank Check fame. He was in it for for about 2 minutes, and then Sam the Sleazebag gets thrown off the fucking. Well, actually, technically, he jumps off the roof when Ford lets him go. When he's pretending to like chop his little pecker off with the hedge clippers, and then he lands and like destroys the guy's whole sound system, and then they beat the shit out of him again. So Randy Castillo and Tone Loc, those are my 2.
Okay, those are good. Yeah. I didn't know he was in Blank Check, really, with Brian Bonsall.
Yeah, he was in Blank Check. He was the I guess technically he was like not the hitman, but I guess he was going after him when the guy first signed the check to him, like without the amount. And he was trying to get the check back the whole time.
My girlfriend's in that too, Karen Duffy.
Oh, so hot.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Back then,
So hot.
before Whitfield Crane ruined her.
Yeah.
Langan, who you got for 2 favorite cameos?
I had to throw Black Plague in there as well. That's the Randy Castillo, Phil Sushin, Carlos Cavazo, Quiet Riot.
I like how white you sound pronouncing those 2 Spanish names. Thank you. I got Randy Castillo and Carlos Cavazo. It's that Matatuck in you.
Yeah, man. And total redneck. And
Yeah.
obviously Vince Neil, dying on stage there, which might have happened if the pandemic didn't happen, it could have happened, this last summer. Because he didn't look too good. But,
Yeah.
in that ridiculous outfit with the streamers hanging off it and just I don't know, just funny. But I had them, and I had to shout out Pamela Adlon, who I love for years since Lucky Louie, and she's on I can't remember the show on from FX, Better Things or whatnot. You guys know Pamela Adlon, right?
Yes. Yep.
I don't.
She was one of the Pussycats who came to the door and actually had a couple of lines. She's very, very young in her career, though, so it wasn't much. But I forgot she was even in this film. Like a lot of people that pop up on this, it was like it's very much a movie of its time. Grabbing, any names, piling in there. It's like a 90s Love Boat episode or something.
Oh, absolutely. So my two, I would have done like Vince Neil. I'm watching Vince Neil, but it was just so quick. And the whole time I'm watching the intro, I'm thinking to myself, this guy was like on top of the world back then. And if he could see himself now, he would just be like, what happened to me? What happened to me? All plastic surgery'd up and fucking fat. So my two are, number one, Tone Loc. Tone Loc, when I saw him on there, was great because the first two cassettes I bought ever were Hysteria and Tone Loc Locked After Dark. So I was a big fan of that album. Locked After Dark was the shit. So seeing him,
that album title just makes me laugh for some reason.
It's ridiculous.
Locked After Dark.
Yo, you saw Mike Malama corrected me, and he was so right because I was quoting Menace to Society on my wall, and I was like, "Hey, Kane Losta," and I was like, I don't know why I said Kane Losta, and he corrected me, and it was the first time he ever said something that I was like, "You're absolutely right." It's Loksta. It was like, yo, what up, Kane Loksta? Yeah, and it's such a Cali lingo thing, and wow, he got me on that one. Shout out to Mike for having the worst shout out to Mike Malama for thinking he likes hip hop just because he likes De La Soul. That's it. It's like me thinking. It's like me thinking I know anything about hardcore because I like Sick of It All. It's like, oh, I love hardcore, and this is terrible. It's like, no, you like De La Soul. That's it.
Yeah, it's okay to say, I'm just not that into hardcore.
Yeah.
Or I'm just not that into hip hop.
Yeah, that's it. Just be like, I really like De La Soul, and that's it, and just keep it.
I like this, but not any of that.
Yeah. Like, you can't shit on Run the Jewels. That's just ridiculous. And my number two is Gilbert. Gilbert, like, he that was a cameo. He was in there for like a few, like, a couple of minutes.
True.
And he's just the best, man. He walks in and this was like serious Gilbert when he's doing his acting,
his normal voice, Gilbert.
His normal voice.
Which is disturbing.
It is. It's not the same, but like you see him, like what was that line you just said? It was so funny, Parker. What was it saying?
Oh, friggin' Suzuki Samurai, you Bensonhurst piece of shit.
Yeah. And he's like, when he left him the message, he's like, "Is this the guy whose prom date I fucked?" He's like, "I just can't."
He lied about that, or at least I hope he did, because I took his sister to prom.
It's like little things like that, are funny because you could tell, he just threw that in there, and that's the beauty of having a comedian in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Now the main characters, real quick. So starring, I'm looking at just the starring list here. Andrew Dice Clay. I mean, what did his career? I feel like his career took a turn after this movie. Like, don't you feel like it was like
you know what though? I think it would have happened anyway because look, I was into the Dice thing as a teenager. It was a big shit. It was he was selling out arenas. It was a huge thing, but he's not. I don't see him like a comedic mind, like a Chappelle or a Carlin, like real timeless kind of intelligent. You know what I mean? Like It was a character. It fit a niche. It was a moment in time. I don't think it was destined to last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was shtick, and so I think he might have dropped out that way anyway. But he is a good actor though. He was just in, what was that film recently? The Star Is Born, where he played the father, Lady Gaga's
That was
father.
great. Yeah, that was great. He did that.
He's got chops,
The Showtime thing was pretty good.
Because when you think about it too, like, the character of Dice was he was acting, in that way. He was an actor in his stand-up set.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, man. It just, like you said, he created a character, and if you would have told him in the very beginning you would have been selling out MSG and all these places for a handful of years,
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, totally. But he did everything he could do, and like now, I was watching The Dice Man Cometh, like not too long ago, because sometimes I say shit. Like, what was I saying to Karen? Because Karen's like 8 years younger, she doesn't know any of this shit. So I go hickory hickory duck, and it's just funny to me. Like, I don't have to say the rest of it, and she's just like, "What the fuck is that?" And I put it on. I just start laughing. Georgie Porgy sitting in pie. And now I laugh at it because I think it's stupid. Like, before I laughed at it like when I was 10, because I maybe just it was so ridiculous.
It was
and
so dirty.
Yeah, it was so dirty. That's what it was. Now that I listen to it, I look at the audience and I'm just like, these fucking coke sniffing wife beaters, like every single one. I'd like to see the arrest record on every single one of these people in that audience.
Yeah, if you're really into Dice still, like, there's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong with you. So second billing was given to Wayne Newton. I don't know much about Wayne Newton. He seems like a fucking herb. He's a singer? Someone fill me in on this guy.
Singer, big Vegas, been in Vegas, I think, forever.
Is he Don Cachet?
Yeah.
Longest running shows in Vegas, I think.
Is he Don Cachet?
Yes.
Okay.
That's him. Yeah.
Definitely doesn't write music, I guarantee you.
He was just one of those people, like, there's a whole bunch of them, like the Bobby Vinton and all these kind of like guys that didn't really sing that well. They kind of, the crooner crap, like, none of the crooners were good singers.
Isn't it funny when you listen to old people talk about, like, oh man, back in my day, and I'm thinking, like, back in your day, what? Like, this shit would have been on fucking America. He would have been on America's Got Talent today, and he would have won. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Wayne Newton, like, what is his talent besides singing? I guess maybe, like, I don't know. Basically, you know what? Fuck old people is what I'm trying to say.
Ageist.
Yeah. All right. Take that, COVID. Priscilla Presley is the next on the list. I mean, how did she make it in this movie?
She only did this movie and Naked Gun, right? Like,
I was about to say she probably got this because of Naked Gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all she did. Besides fuck Elvis.
Yeah.
That worked out
at
right.
15, or was it 13?
Something
right?
like that.
Wasn't she like so like like these people?
Times were different then, Sam.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis was like banging his 15-year-old cousin, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anyone talk about anyone today if you're not going to shit on Elvis. And then that brings us to Robert Englund, of course. So by 89, what had come out? What was the last Friday?
Well, remember that the director that did this did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, so he got this right afterwards.
Yes. Okay. So the
yeah,
that's what it. Rennie Harlan.
Right.
So I guess this dude was like he directed this movie, but he's a director, producer, screenwriter. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is in the credits. The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, Die Hard 2, which came out the same year, and I feel like I hated that movie when it came out, but I think as time went on, it got good, and then I think Die Hard 3 is amazing. Did you guys like Die Hard 2?
Can't even remember it.
Yeah, I know it's been a really long time. I remember the majority took place at like an airport, right? It's been a long time since I've seen that. I mean, I love the original. The original's in my top 10 of all time, but I definitely need to go back and like check out that franchise again.
No, you don't need to. It's all right.
Don't watch the remake.
Watch the Cliffhanger.
Oh God, I can imagine.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. There you go.
He's this guy's got some great credits. So shout out to the director. Did
he do Hudson Hawk too?
Nah, he did. What was that Richard Grieco movie?
What, If Looks Could Kill?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Fucking great movie right there, starring Eddie White.
Eddie White. And then
going back to Robert Englund though too, I think that wasn't. I think I read that that was supposed to be Billy Idol,
Yes. Yep.
and he got hurt in that motorcycle accident. And I think through the connection with the Nightmare on Elm Street thing and blah blah blah, that they thought of Robert Englund.
well, all right. So let's take it there. Let's take it to Billy Idol. Let's take it to the soundtrack, which I didn't even really remember. And then
Cradle of Love. Yeah.
Cradle of Love was fucking huge. Like huge. If you were watching MTV in 89, 90, that video was all over the fucking place. I think it was a huge resurgence for Billy Idol. And it's funny because it's such a big song, and the movie bombed. So I don't really know any other case that you could think of where that has happened.
A big song with a bomb movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, Judgment Night, maybe. Yo, shout out to the producer and the maker of that, who started following us on Instagram. Happy Walters.
Sick.
He's
yeah.
he's listening now. Big fan already. So let's talk the rest of the soundtrack. I have number 1, which was Cradle of Love on the soundtrack. The second song is by Dion. Do we know who Dion is? I don't know if I get...
He's like an old one of those 50s singers too. I think he did what was his big hit? Was that Run Around Sue? I think that was him.
Okay, yeah. So
We're talking like 50s shit.
Then we got Freaky Attitude by Sheila, who is also
Nice.
a cameo up in there.
He was fine.
Glad to Be Alive, Lisa Fletcher and Teddy Pendergrass. That's like the most random track yet. Good old Teddy Pendergrass.
I don't even remember that in the movie.
Me neither.
A couple of these I don't even remember in the movie.
Tone Loc, Tone Loc, Can't Get Enough. Motley Crue, Rock and Roll Junkie, which later on ended up in Decade of Decadence. A song I'm going to talk about soon. Andrew Dice Clay doing I Ain't Got You. Queensryche, Last Time in Paris.
I don't even remember.
Wow.
That.
Right? I don't remember that. But it's supposedly...
It must have been one of those things they used like a couple of seconds of or something like that.
Yellow does a song called Unbelievable, which makes no sense.
I don't know who the fuck that is.
And the last song on the soundtrack, Richie Sambora doing The Wind Cries Mary.
I'm upset that the song from the party when they were like carving up the shark meat didn't make it. The guy that was singing "Someday the high roads, I take the low roads." That fucking like horrible band that they had fucking over there. He might have made like the 7-inch, like the split 7-inch with Floor Punch, maybe like the Japanese import.
But yeah, the Richie Sambora, The Wind Cries Mary. I think that was at the very end, if I remember. Blah blah blah. When you know the Ford Fairlane and Wayne Newton standoff. So that covers the soundtrack. That covers the cast. That brings us to the meat and potatoes here, which are basically the favorite scenes and favorite quotes. So let's do our favorite quotes first. 5 favorite quotes. Give me number 5, Parker.
Was probably still one of my favorite quotes is right after he gets when he first gets the money from Gilbert Gottfried when he's leaving his office and he's kind of doing that little skip because he just got all that money and he goes money 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 blah, blah, and he does like the typical he does the typical dice noise, but if you fucking look like closely he's like so it's clearly overdubbed, but I still fucking laugh every time because he does the for like 30 seconds.
Yes, I love that. Number 5, Langan.
You know what's funny too, because I refreshing my memory. I'm watching like this YouTube clips, like 7 minutes of all like the choice quotes and scenes and stuff, and you watch them and they cut them all together, all these one-liners, and after every one of them, he's like, "Oh," and then when you watch them one after another, it sounds ridiculous, man. I wish someone made a super cut of just all his sound effects out of his mouth.
You know what I've been saying a lot lately, which has nothing to do with anything, but I've been watching. You know, I saw Creep Show 2 twice, you know, because it was just randomly on. And where like Sam, you know, and Chief Woodenhead goes, it's like don't move. I'm gonna blow off your old man's Ogo BGs or something. Like, what does he say? I'm gonna blow off your old man's Ogo BGs. I'm like, what?
That's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm like, bro, you ain't even Indian, bro. Stop. Langan, number 5.
Yeah, but my number 5, I guess I'll go with the very end before the credits, where they're all chilling on the beach chairs. And what? You really didn't think we'd kill the fucking koala bear, did you?
Yes. I love that. That I took that one off my list, but yeah, that's a good one. So I'm going to take it to the very beginning where he's talking to the kid. And it's something that I really identified with because I had an uncle who would curse all the time, but he didn't like you to curse. And he was just like, the kid's like, he must have cursed in front of him. I forget what it was. And he's like, excuse me? You use the F word one more fucking time, I'm going to bounce you right the fuck out of here. You get me? Now get the fuck out. Like, he just fucking says this, and it was just the funniest shit because I maybe just because I related to it. Like I said, I had an uncle who would curse all the time, but like he would hate when you would curse, and we'd be like, "What is that?" Like don't fucking curse in front of me. I'll fucking like. So, definitely, yeah. If you say the F word one more time, I'm gonna bounce you right the fuck out of here. His relationship with the kid, big part of the movie for sure. I love that you mentioned that because I guess it was kind of to to soften him, kind of.
It had to be.
It had.
You got to give him a love interest in something else, because otherwise, he's kind of a shitty person.
Yeah, because he didn't even finish the arc,
and he still was, even with the kid. Yeah,
he didn't finish. Like I guess at the end, like he ends up with the kid, but you would imagine that he would have found the kid, like the dad, and it would have been like someone random.
They could have went there. Yeah.
But okay, give me your number 4 quote, Parker.
Number 4, I got to go with my hair.
Yes.
Which that scene just fucking cracks me up. I mean, so the 3 of them fall off the Capitol Records building, and like Robert Englund's screaming. There's like a 360 pan going, and Zuzu Pedals is doing the same thing. And then you just got like this zoom up to fucking Dice, and he's just standing there. He's just like, calm as can be. My hair. I have the same thing. I laugh every fucking time.
That's a good one.
That's my number 1, actually.
Okay.
I love it. Just the way that it's spinning around and stuff. It's a simple joke, but it kills me. And was that from he's doing the Travolta from Saturday Night Fever line.
Which he would do impressions of, like I told you in his stand-up. Yep. He was very good. So, all right, so that'll be your number 1. So my number 4 is every single you guys probably have this just because it's so repetitive towards the whole movie, but hit Pater with Cater. It's just one of those things where like I say that all the time. No one gets it unless they've seen the movie, but right. I just say I'm like hit pay, like if I pick up like no, but it's just so it's such a I don't know, it's ridiculous. Like, 30 years later that I'm still saying hit pay dirt with Cater. And it reminded me of like the parts in like One Crazy Summer with that uncle that was trying to win that radio contest. But yeah, hit pay dirt with Cater, man, so good. You got that on your list too?
Parker? I don't have that one.
No, I don't have that one.
Okay, go ahead. So give me your number 3.
So number 3 is it's a longer line, but it's when he's on the when he's on the boat after he finds the Colleen Sutton videotape, and he goes, when he's impersonating her, and he's, I'm very rich, nothing offends me. I mean, no shit, honey, you got a whip sticking out of your ass and a guy that's fucking barking at you.
Yes, that's a good one. I love it. What was the name of the boat? I forgot.
Was it the Mighty Penis? Is that what it was?
Okay, yeah, it was something like that. Or maybe the Mighty Cardon or something.
Yeah.
Langan, give me your next.
I'll go with in the beginning when he's sitting on the beach, reflecting, pensive, doing the intro, and speaks about it's a throwaway line, but it always made me laugh about the music industry sucking his Dick Tracy.
Me too. Like that. I don't have that on my list, but like it. Little things like that. There were certain scenes where I forget what else he said, man. There was a couple of those where it was just so. Maybe like we're all gonna be shitting Miatas was like another one. Like it's just
that's actually tied for my number 5 that line.
Okay, So, all right. So my next one is when Priscilla Presley comes over, and he's such a degenerate, like poon hound, and he's got a boner, and she's just like looking at it. He's like, don't worry. He's like, he's usually up. He's usually up a half hour before I am. He's like, look. He's like, Roseanne Barr naked, gone. And then she's like, Stanley. And this is something that I used a lot. Like as a kid going to high school, I thought it was the funniest thing because he called his dick Stanley, and he's like, like the power drill. Like it was just so stupid, but so like, I don't know, just like little things like that definitely didn't age well. Like I can't imagine being 42 and saying that right now, but
it was built for a juvenile audience.
It was.
And we were
and we ate. I was fucking 12 watching it, and this guy's talking about Stanley the power drill. Give me another one, Parker.
Oh man, so this one I definitely use this one still to this day, and it's conversation with Zuzu Pedals was like masturbating with a cheese grater, slightly amusing but mostly painful.
Yep, that one was. I used to steal that all the time. It was just and there was something so funny about that. It was just so true. And back then when you would like steal jokes and make them your own, I'm like, oh yeah, that was it. Langan, anything else?
When they're on the Capitol Records building and Zuzu's hanging there, and he's like, it's all right, if you fall, I'll make it.
That's a good one.
I think me and Parker probably have the same number one, so I will skip that one, and I'm just gonna go to anytime England was on, he would say hello, and it was just
before Baba Booey.
Yeah, it was just, before he did it all throughout the movie, and every time he did it, I loved it. I don't know why he had like a Australian accent or whatever. It really didn't serve any purpose whatsoever. Right? It wasn't like part of the plot.
Unless, I know it was Australian, but unless maybe if they had Billy Idol in mind for the role already, that they were hard up on an accent in that role.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess maybe it was British. I don't know.
Yeah.
So give me your number one, Parker.
So like I said, I had these two tied. So it was I Almost Shit a Miata, which we had mentioned already. And then the other one was when fucking England falls off the Capitol Records building. And then he goes, say hello to Liberace, asshole.
Poor Liberace catching shrapnel.
That's it,
Langan.
This is a tie because they're about the same line, just interjecting different people in it. But Clint Eastwood, I fucked him.
Yes.
Yeah. Or Robin Leach.
Yeah.
He also used in another point. It makes no sense, the joke.
No, but so he would do that in the stand-up. So it was always like, your mother, I fucked her, or whoever. Yeah.
Right.
So my number one is, man, I thought someone was going to pick it. So many assholes, so few bullets.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
When the very beginning, I just thought that was such a great line. And it's, Charles Bronson could have stolen that, So then now we're going to pick 3 of our favorite scenes from the movie. So wrapping up.
Got 2.
Oh, perfect. Wrapping up soon. So here we go. Give me your number 3 favorite scene from the Ford Fairlane movie, Parker.
So the boat scene once again, where he's trying to track down clues on the mighty penis, and then he finds the videotape of Gilbert Gottfried and her. He's whipping her, and then the infamous scene where he opens up the mirror, and then that's when you see Robert Englund for the first time with the first hello. And I love that he just shuts the mirror and just stands there like the fucking guy's gonna like go away or something because he shut the mirror on him. And then he, knocks the mirror open and then proceeds to fight. And then he rips off a shotgun rack with 3 different pump-action shotguns and uses all of them, which is pretty great.
Yes, I love that. That was great. Where he closes it and he's just like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "I don't know what I don't know what I just saw, but it can't be real."
Yeah.
Langan, give me one.
I'd probably go with the early nightclub scene where they're introducing the character.
That's
meets Hey, and the girls are coming on to him, and he lays on all his lines when they're introducing the character.
That is on my list. That's my number 3. I just thought it was great. It was probably the time that he got to be as Dice as he wanted to be.
Yes.
He walks in, the girl smacks him, and he's like another satisfied customer. And then I guess he sees everyone, right? He sees Neil and Bob. Then he does he sees like what's the guy? Hold on, the David Patrick Kelly or something. He's the dude from the Warriors, and then also in Commando.
Yeah, the sleaze bag.
Yeah, Sam, and then in Commando, of course, too.
Yep.
And then he's
Sully.
Yeah. And for some reason, this fucking like poor bartender has to like give him some like shake that he literally takes like the smallest sip out of ever. And he fucking yeah, right. He didn't even like savor it, and he didn't even go back for a second sip or whatever.
No, and he basically told the guy that it wasn't that great.
Yeah, like it was just like it's like you're getting closer. But
I don't even know if he left him a tip. I'll be honest, I didn't see a tip.
That whole thing was just great. The whole beginning, really big introduction to that quote, to him, like the one thing about these action movies that I love is just how brazen these detectives and cops are, where they just shoot guns in these clubs and they don't care. So this guy's like the liability factor in this stuff. He pulls out a gun, like shoots like the fucking like the disco ball. And the same thing was happening. When I was watching Invasion USA. I'm like, yo, Chuck Norris just drove his fucking truck through the mall.
Through a shopping mall, yeah.
Had no idea who was possibly there, and he just starts like unloading rounds, to kill bad guys. But I'm thinking, like, if this was the real world, you would have murdered at least 30 people, 30 normal people, and 2 bad guys. That would have been the time.
It was a different time, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit in the 80s.
Yeah. So give me your second favorite scene, Parker.
Second favorite is when they're in studio with Kyle Troy, because that's kind of what sets up when you meet Wayne Newton for the first time, how he's talking about how shitty Kyle Troy is as a singer and who would put him out and yada yada. And then Morris Day is trying to kind of signal to him that like, hey, like even though you can't see him, there's somebody sitting over here. And then the light, shines on, and then he comes over and pretty much just tells him, if you can't say anything nice, just make sure that nobody's in the fucking room. And I think that just set up the entire fucking, hatred of the movie between Dice and Wayne Newton.
Okay. Number 2, Langan?
Probably the hearse scene, the dueling hearses there with Robert Englund and Dice. His interaction with the corpse when her head falls on his lap, and he's like, you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
That whole shit, all the lines he has. I hope you filled out your organ donor cards. There was a lot of good,
a lot of good stuff in there.
Lines in that, but no explanation though at the end when she comes to life. No idea. It was just a way. Starts talking. She's dead.
Yeah.
And somehow she regenerates herself, and we move on.
I think I think what it is like just like in the bar scene when he walks in, they almost like wink at the camera where he's like, oh, my number's 555 whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's just like, that's the number they give out in movies. She's like, what do you think this is, real life, honey? And I think a lot of that carries into like a lot of these situations, where you're just like the koala at the end. It's like you didn't think we'd kill the koala. So my second is also the Kyle Troy thing. This is a song that Dice sings that I could sing in my head. Like it's really catchy. It's really well done. I know my brother would always do it when we were younger. I got chicks all around me, bam, bam, chicks to the left, but I ain't got you. Doo-doo-doo. Like it's got that. It was such a great song, such a great scene, and he like herbed Kyle Troy so hard. And
do you think like they wrote that was written by the writer, or Dice was like, I want to showcase, this is my movie, and I want to like,
I think he showcased. Yeah.
Like crowbar in me singing a song somehow.
I think it's his vehicle.
Where I act like Elvis.
But yeah, this was his vehicle because in an alternate planet, this was supposed to be the one that took him to the next level. Like this movie was supposed to make $200 million, and he was going to be like The Rock, before The Rock.
He was probably trying to work in, like, he thought he was going to get some, like, Bruce Willis as Bruno, the harmonica album. Fucking got his fucking his album after this movie blows up. Then I got to cut the album, Then we'll. Because everybody's going to be clamoring for this, like, 50s song in 1990.
I was watching, speaking of Bruce Willis, it's amazing, streaming services make it so people could work for a living. Okay? So these guys that are used to getting their $20 million a picture now, they seem to make 10 movies a year that probably pay them $2 million, So
right.
I'm looking at this like movie called Hard Kill, I think, with Bruce Willis. I put it on. I'm like, what? It's on Netflix. It's so bad. I lasted 20 minutes. Like, I'm like, who made this? Like, I thought it was so bad. Like, he probably just was like, all right, I'll be in this movie for 20 minutes if you pay me $2 million.
That's it. Just a paycheck,
Yeah, because it's just the way, he's doing what's that? Nicolas Cage. Like, these guys, like Ving Rhames, like all these dudes, you go to their IMDb and you're like, how did he make 30 movies this month?
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is crazy with that.
Yeah.
Once he got in tax, I think he got in tax trouble. He started doing that. But Nicolas Cage will still show up in some pretty interesting ones here and there, like he's Mandy or whatnot.
He's in
Color Out of Space
for our year-end episode. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that movie because it's on my favorite movies of the year for sure. Okay, so Langan, give me your last one.
Probably the whole Capitol Records scene. Just the typical, I know this was 1990, but, as far as the 80s vein of action movies, some, like, overdone scene where they probably could have shot anywhere, but they got to get a helicopter shot on top of that. But that whole action scene, I would rank my number one.
Yeah, the Capitol building for sure. Big deal.
Yeah, it's iconic to the LA skyline. It's like one of the,
it's funny to think of the Wayne Newton character to be such an evil record exec, in a time like now where those positions don't even exist anymore because of guys like that.
You know what I loved about the whole his whole scheme and stuff, that they had. This always happens with with the super villain in a movie. Like, he's got 3 CDs that you have to have them all together to code. That's gonna. He listed all the bad shit he was doing. Why would you even list it?
Yeah.
But it's on these 3 CDs, and we have to get them all together. It's like when James Bond's got the villain's got James Bond across his desk, and he's got this intricate.
I know.
Crap on how to kill them when he could have just take out a gun and shoot them. But
yeah.
But that's part of the movie.
That's part of the movie for sure. So what was your number one, Parker?
My number one is the K-Dirt building again. Like I said, like that reunion with Johnny Crunch the first time. Another line that I do love when he's leaving him that voicemail to meet him there is he goes, now I got a case for you. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Is it a leather case or is it a metal case? Now it's just a regular case.
So good. They probably, what
good.
I love is like those two guys definitely shot 30 of those scenes and they probably kept the funniest one. I could only imagine the ad libs.
I think Dice came to not like Gilbert over time. I feel like I could be wrong, but remember when he did Stern and he would do Dice Godfrey and overdo everything, like like all that shit.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Well, the funny thing about Gilbert is that people never understand is that that's his whole thing is overdoing everything. Just when you think he shouldn't, say anything else, that's when he's going to say it 30 more times.
He's easily one of the most fearless comics.
He doesn't
ever.
care.
He doesn't give a fuck about losing rooms.
No.
Like he'll dig in his
He
heels
totally
and
will.
make sure he runs the whole room.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't give a fuck, and that's why I always love him.
Yeah, I laugh. I laugh when he laughs, even if it's not funny. Like when they would do the news on Stern, and him and like Artie would drop like the N-word, like just everything that you're not supposed to say, and I would just laugh because I'm thinking like these guys are out of their fucking mind right now. Cool. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, cool. So I'll just go through my last favorite scene. Everything's still good, right?
It's teetering on doing it again, but let's see what happens.
Okay, yeah, because I mean I could hear everything fine.
Okay.
So my number one is just when he makes it to that sorority. I think it's like the most ridiculous. I think it's like one of the indulgence things. Like it was almost like the 80s, like the very tail end of it. Everything about it, like girls eating hot dogs.
Yeah.
Girls blowing bubbles, girls playing Twister. It was like just the most ridiculous fucking scene for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Because that's what all girls do when they get together when guys aren't around.
They play Twister and blow bubbles
all the time.
Yeah, and I just thought that was like the funniest scene because it's a movie based on a character that's just ridiculous. It's almost like watching Borat, knowing that you're going to get something that's just ridiculous. The Dice Man is just this caricature, and that's what the movie is. Which brings me to the last question, because I have an answer for myself. But how did this movie age for you, Parker?
I mean, I still fucking laugh my ass off at it, so I guess it aged all right. I mean, I really don't know how else to answer that. I mean, I watched it. I actually watched it this morning, and I still fucking laughed at, I don't know, 90% of the movie, so I still fucking find it hysterical.
Langan?
When I just watched it the other night, it was the first time I'd watched it since it had come out, and I don't know if it's one of those time capsule movies. This is like the end of the LA rock decadence, pre-Nirvana, about to drop. It's the tail end of that whole vibe. I mean, I get a nostalgia kick out of it, watching it. But I think if you showed it to somebody like how you play movies for your girlfriend, Sam, like I don't see anybody like enjoying this that didn't come up in that doesn't have a nostalgic connection to it.
Yeah, I could see that. When I first saw it, like I said, I felt very disappointed by it, but I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't really know what it was. Maybe at 12 I wanted more violence. I wasn't really too. Some jokes probably missed me, but as I got older and every time I rewatched it, it's a movie that I love. Like I'm with Parker. Like I'm laughing like a slow child. Staring at the TV every time. I'm still laughing at the same things. I don't know what it is. It's so. I watched it this morning, and he is telling his boner that Roseanne Barr naked, and and it's just so stupid. I don't know. Like I'm an idiot. I just I'm like watching it, and it aged well for me. But I'm also going to go with what Langan said. If you don't have that attachment to it, I don't think you're going to watch this for the first time at 40 years old, 30 or 40 and be like, oh, that was great.
I think he'd shut it off. Like,
yeah.
I can't see that person getting through this,
Yeah. And you know what it is too? This movie was meant to, it was meant to be a blockbuster. So when something is a blockbuster that's bad, you're going to have a bad reaction to it. When we're talking about Samurai Cop, like we're talking about, before, certain movies are just so bad that you're like, oh, well, this is just, this isn't meant to be good. So it's okay to just be like, oh, this is so terrible that I need to watch it. So that's the difference. Is like this was.
Oh, you could tell they had high hopes for it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like just the people attached to it.
Fun little fact, though, it did enjoy a lot of success in post-communist Hungary. I read. When bands are like, well, we're big in Japan, like that kind of a thing, but. I guess apparently there was a lot of pirated dub versions of it widely circulating in their VHS market, and whoever did the dub is a very well-known musician in Hungary. So and they put extra profanity in it, and it became a huge film with the youth of Hungary and Norway and Spain actually. So while it didn't find its home here.
I'm just picturing,
when those posts, when they picked up their Yankee blue jeans and their Ford Fairlane DVD.
I'm just picturing this culture of he goes over there, and I mean he's bald now and looks really weird. He has the old lady glasses, but back then if he went over there, he could have started something. They look at him the way Hasselhoff is in Germany. They're like, man,
that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
The where I got this, it says several lines of dialogue from the film became ingrained in the slang of Hungarian urban youth culture throughout the 90s.
Booty time.
So he had a big effect.
Yeah, booty time for sure. Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have seen a sequel, but that never happened. So now we get to live in this 1990 time capsule. And I would have loved, we always talk about now, after Cobra Kai, movies that would get not movies, but characters that should get a treatment. It would be funny, wouldn't it? It would be funny to see.
It would make a good short, like a 10-minute short. I think.
Well, but I'm saying Dice is still alive, and he'd be like, oh, he could carry on. He could do 10 episodes for fucking Netflix under Ford Fairlane as to what happened. How old the koala is now. And Lauren Holly, yeah, she's great.
I don't think Netflix is going to make that one. Maybe Tubi. Maybe they might production market or something.
Tubi is...
You got to aim low.
Do you have Tubi, Parker?
I do.
Okay, I mean, what a fucking...
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
A Vimeo original series.
Yeah.
Which is a Ford Fairlane and the koala.
I actually finally watched... I never really deep dove into the zombie movies, like the Fulci ones. And holy fuck, man, I watched not the Bird one, because the Bird is 5? I think Zombie 5. So I think I was watching Zombie 4, and oh my god, what a fucking piece of shit that was.
I heard 3 was good though.
Yeah. I don't think they had 3. I think they either had 4 and 5, but I went to 4 and it was fucking horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a hell of a service, though. That Tubi. I mean, it's been aces to me this whole 2020, finding some real deep cuts in there.
Yeah. You got to dig for sure. I watched the movie.
It's like you said. It's like going to a video store. You're walking through, you're grabbing a big box. Is this going to be good? Is it not? I don't know. Don't cost nothing.
I got to watch that freaky movie today too, as well. That's on my list. But cool, man. This was definitely not the type of deep dive that I wanted to do with everyone separated. But I guess COVID-19 happens, or is that what it is? I don't even know. Coronavirus.
We're in its second wave up here, so.
Yeah, so it's just it is what it is. The other day I was listening to Stern and he had Billy Corgan on, and the phone dropped. And I was I don't feel so bad, everyone's.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, it happens to everyone. Yeah, because Billy's I can't hear you. Oh, I can hear you. I can't hear you, and I'm like, all right, cool. So the next episode will be us talking about our favorite things of 2020, and it'll be cool. We do it every year, and that's about it.
I'm looking forward to being done with making this list, because I put way too much thought into it. It gives me anxiety, because there was 40 great hip-hop albums this year.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I want to make sure I mention anything I liked. And there's a lot of good shit in a fucked up year.
A lot of good
stuff. Keep us entertained.
Yeah, a lot. I saw so much good stuff. I know I keep talking about that show, You Are the Worst, but man, 5 years old, and here I am finally stumbling across it, and it's one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I haven't binged a show like this since I finally discovered the Goldbergs. I'm like, oh my god, this is so great.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it if you like Aya Cash. She was on The Boys. She played Stormfront. She was in a show called I Am the Worst. There's 5 seasons up on Hulu, and it's fucking hilarious.
Gotta get on it.
Cool, man. Well, I guess I'll edit this piece of shit and put it up on Monday. And that way the fan base will be fed with us talking about Ford Fairlane.
I gotta see how many other shows have tackled it. I don't even know if that show. How did this get made?
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
They're too busy doing Children of the Corn Genesis.
It was such
Nice.
a bad movie that it didn't even make a show that's just about bad movies.
Yeah.
They haven't even discussed it yet. They haven't even touched it.
Cool, man. I guess I will talk to you guys towards like the end of the month, and we'll chop it up on that.
Probably what before? Probably within next 2 weeks, right? We'll probably
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I got to get it out before the year's over. All right.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Later, guys.